on this episode of the Sorority Chat podcast.
Going from exterior basement all the way up to the top floors, looking for any type of action items, but also areas where the chapter needs to improve from a interior design perspective as well. We develop a capital expenditure plan that's 5 years. It kind of gives a roadmap where we feel like the chapter needs to go to be competitive and also to upkeep the house.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Sorority Chat. I'm Liz Toombs, a designer and sorority alum who's obsessed with all things Greek life. My mission? To bring you real conversations, smart insights, and fun stories that help make sorority living even better. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's chat. Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's Sorority Chat. Joining me today is Jeff Peterson from CSL Management, and Jeff handles all of the house assessments for both local House Corps boards and national housing offices. Hey Jeff.
Hey there, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you and glad to catch you between doing house assessments and running all over the place.
Yes, I just got back from Memphis, and then next week I'm headed to Knoxville.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah. A lot of Tennessee at the moment.
Tennessee at the moment, yes. And then after that, I head to Washington. So,
okay.
Lots of travel.
Yeah, a little bit further.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a time of year that's the best time for house assessments, or does it just constantly happen year round?
Well, we prefer to do them when they're empty, just because it's easier for us to get through them. But we do them, throughout the year. But we prefer definitely the summertime.
Okay, I never knew what the case was there. And so backing up, if somebody isn't familiar, when we say assessment, let's explain to them, what we're talking about. This is when you go into these Greek houses and you're essentially inspecting them like a house inspector. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So we're basically going from exterior basement all the way up to the top floors, looking for any type of action items, but also areas where the chapter needs to improve from a interior design perspective as well. Yeah. So we develop an action items list, and also we develop a capital expenditure plan. That's 5 years. That kind of gives a roadmap where we feel like the chapter needs to go to be competitive and also to upkeep the house.
Okay, so there's a lot of value then. It's not just saying like, oh, you need to replace your siding or the boiler's gonna die in a year. You're giving them like full picture, like here's your roadmap, like you said.
Here's your roadmap, yeah. And this is how much you can expect to spend over the next 5 years to keep the house competitive.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that competitiveness is super important. I know I'm talking about that a lot with my work in these houses too.
Right. Yeah.
How did you get into doing this?
So Woody Reiterman, the owner of our company, and we're fraternity brothers. And 10 years ago, well, probably 11 years ago, I ran into Woody at a homecoming event for our MTSU. And at the time, I was doing actual home inspections in the Tennessee area. And he said that he needed me and wanted me on his staff. So probably about 3 or 4 months of conversations, he hired me to do these assessments. So I've been doing them for 10 years now. Oh gosh. Wow. That's a pretty good run. It is a good run. Yes. I've been to every state except for Maine and Hawaii and Alaska. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So those are the goals to like hit those last 3.
Well, I hope to go on vacation in Hawaii. And Alaska would be nice too, but yeah. So at some point, hopefully we'll knock those 3 out.
Yes, all of them. I've been to Hawaii and I've been to Maine, and both are beautiful in very different ways. I would love to go to Alaska because I think that would also be a really unique experience, but I haven't been there.
Yes, I want to go there too. Yeah.
Is there a big difference that you see from your side of things between like a residential house inspection and a Greek house inspection and what all is involved in those reports?
Well, yeah, for the Greek house inspection, especially on the fraternity side, the men's side, they don't really take care of their houses. So there's that aspect of it. There's a lot more action items than just a regular house. But from the fraternity and sorority houses, the sorority houses are really, really nice. I enjoy going to those, but fraternities they're a little tougher.
What do you think plays into that difference? Like I guess, the maintenance and upkeep.
Maintenance,
And
yes. So the boys, or the young men, they actually think that they can like do the repairs themselves. And most of the time they're not successful at that. Where the women's organizations, they'll actually hire a handyman or a professional to do the repairs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Getting it professionally done versus like DIY side of things.
Right.
One's kind of a Band-Aid and one is like a true fix and maintenance. Is there a tip that you have or a strategy to where you would suggest how chapters could foster like a sense of ownership among chapter members to really take care of the facility and pay attention to things and make sure they stay on top of it so it doesn't get in a state of disrepair?
Just be like a reminder to the young men. It's like, hey, look, treat this as your own house. You live there. If you're growing up, you didn't trash your parents' house growing up, right? So, carry that into living into the fraternity houses.
I mean, we may be making an assumption there, but the hope is you did not trash your parents' house, right?
This is true.
What came to mind was thinking about like all the parents that talk about the cups stacking up in their kids' rooms or, going in and collecting plates and all these things every so often because they just don't bring the items back down to the kitchen. So what are the top 3 in your mind, like maintenance tasks that these houses should prioritize on a semester basis? So like kind of fall semester and spring semester so that they make sure they keep their properties in really good condition.
So on the fraternity side, one thing that I recommend is to have actually a cleaning crew come in at least once a week to do the common areas because those are the ones that get really, really messed up. And, when they try to clean them, they don't necessarily do a very good job. So having a professional come in and also having a schedule where the trash is actually getting taken out, right? Because a lot of times we go in, it's, the trash is just overpiling the trash cans. Yeah. So in sorority houses, we want them to snake the drains.
Because of hair?
Because of hair, yes. Hair and stuff getting clogged up in like the shower drains and also the sink drains. So we like to see those done. And also, very importantly, are the dryer vents. So a lot of times we'll see dryer vents where they're either disconnected behind the dryer or the piping is damaged. So we like to see those cleaned and also repaired when needed.
I saw something, I think it was an Instagram ad, honestly, the other day, and it was like a retractable dryer vent. And so instead of having that hose kind of snaking around behind it because it does get smashed or it comes away, it compresses. So you could just you push the dryer straight back. And I don't know if that applies to this kind of commercial situation, but I was like, that seems legit because it could solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. So the best case scenario, they actually make recessed dryer vent connectors where they're actually recessed into the wall. So the pipe actually goes into the wall and then connects to it on the top side. So that way it doesn't have any room to get crushed. So that would be the best case scenario is to have those type of devices.
Is that hard to install like retroactively?
It would be hard to install retroactively. So during like new construction, I would definitely recommend those be installed during new construction. Yeah,
or even a renovation. If you're updating the space, you could get in there and do that. And it's not something you could do if you're not doing that kind of work.
Yes. And we also want to see either drain pans for under the washers or a floor drain in the laundry room because, those are at some point the washers are going to overflow, right? So we want that water to have a place to go and be dispersed away from the house instead of sitting in those laundry rooms.
Coming through the floor, if that's on upper floors, is a nightmare.
Yes.
You mentioned snaking the drains. Like how often should a chapter house be doing that?
At least once a year. But, we would like to see it during the summertime and also during Christmas break.
Okay.
But at least once a year for sure.
I'm now thinking through, I'm going to tell myself, like I have a little thing on my shower drain because, hair just gets everywhere. And before you know it, it builds up. And then my makeup in my vanity sink. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And if you have like 50 women running through and all of this going on, the plumbing's going to get clogged up.
Yes.
It's hard to be a woman and keeping up with the bathroom stuff.
Yes. Men, we shove other things down drains. So, we call it as well. So
Everyone has their unique challenges, I suppose.
This is true.
So you've mentioned a couple, but are there some other like common maintenance issues that you've noticed in Greek housing? And like, what are your suggestions for them to stop that? Because you talked about like taking the trash out regularly, like hiring a cleaning crew to come in on a regular basis. Are there other things that you're like, these are just really good items for you to focus on?
Yeah. So in the fraternity houses, men's organizations, we'd like to see locks that have master codes or master keys to them on the bedrooms, because a lot of times they'll get locked out, and instead of like having a key, they'll kick the doors in. So every fraternity house has damaged doors, and they're really expensive to install. If it's severely damaged, they'll be up to like $3,000, if not more, to replace the door and also the frame around it. So having a way to get into the room if someone loses their keys that's big. Yeah.
It seems so simple, but I guess that can often just kind of get lost in the shuffle that, you're trying to worry about getting keys back. And if someone loses one, then maybe they're getting, a replacement key. And so the extra isn't there. And so then is it the house director that would hang on to the master key so that when there's these issues, that's the person that you contact to get back in?
Either the house manager or the house director.
Okay.
Yeah, depending. So not every fraternity house has a house director.
That's true.
So the house manager should have either the key or the code to get in the room.
Which do you see more of, physical keys or digital codes right now?
Physical keys. But the fraternities, they're moving more toward having codes.
Oh, really?
Yes, but they still get kicked in though.
What is driving them to make that switch, just so that they don't have to keep up with a physical key?
They don't have a physical key, and also they can change the codes if they want to. If you're moving out and someone else is moving in, it's easier to change a code than it is to change an actual lock and key.
True. It doesn't require a locksmith to come out and rekey it for you. But then same concept, either your house manager or house director would need that code so that they could be able to get in, right? You can't be the only one to know it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, those are good practical tips. And some of them I had not considered, really, specifically the kicking in the door.
Oh, yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah. There you go, folks, getting a little peek behind the curtain about what goes on in these houses. So kind of switching from the maintenance side of things to more of that bigger picture that you talked about, do you have advice for how chapters can develop like a realistic and effective annual maintenance budget that accounts for routine upkeep, but then also some unexpected stuff that may come up, like if the washer overflows or something happens?
Using the CapEx that we develop will help chapters budget for what's needed moving forward. So within our CapEx, we include anything that is over, say, $2,000, so maybe $1,500, $2,000. So if we see that where washers and dryers are coming close to the end of their life cycle, then we'll put in there that they need to plan for replacing the washer and dryer or whatever the equipment is within the next 3 to 5 years. That, and also budgeting for the higher ticket items, whether it's the boiler or if it's AC. Like air conditioners, they have a life expectancy of 20-ish years, 15 to 20 years. So once you're getting close to those, you want to set aside some money, because it gets really expensive when you have 10 to 15 units that need to be replaced because they're aging out.
Yeah, it does. And you can't always just call up your alums and say, hey, we need 16 grand, like help us get this replaced. It's a process and it takes time.
Yeah. And also, on the sorority side, when their interior design stuff is coming due, right? I had a conversation yesterday with an organization that is replacing dining room chairs and tables. And, that if you're trying to seat 120 people, that gets expensive. You're going to spend close to 80 to 100 grand, if not more, to replacing those tables and chairs. So just keeping that on the radar and knowing what's needed to be replaced will help them to budget.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And that's what I was thinking was when you were talking about the air conditioning, I was like, and that's all the non-sexy stuff that takes away my money. So when the boiler goes out or the AC dies, it's like, oh, sorry, we can't do the living room now, or we have to push this off another year. Sometimes if they're not adequately prepared for what everything is going to cost. And sometimes it just happens. Like it's just unfortunate, the timing. But yeah, all the stuff that you don't see, the behind the scenes things take a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah. And also painting too, it's expensive to paint a house, so setting aside money to do a couple rooms every year or do them every 3 or 4 years. It's, just setting aside that money to have it done.
So with that advice, do you find that these chapters are heeding that and they're saying, okay, we're going to do these couple of rooms and they kind of work through the plan, or do they sort of go rogue and just do it how they want to do it?
We recommend that we do assessments every 4 or 5 years, right? So we're staying within the life cycle of our capital expenditure plan. So we have revisited houses that we've done, 3 or 4 years prior where they've actually followed our plan. So they've done paint, they've updated the air conditioning. So it's neat to see them actually following the plan.
It has to make your heart happy. You're like, oh, you listened. It's working. This is great.
Yeah, it is. It's great. There was a chapter in Alabama that the house was in disarray, and I think I've done 2 assessments for them, and from the first one to the last one I did, the changes were. It's fun to see. It's like kind of warms your heart. It's like you're listening to what we're saying.
Yeah. You're like, this is like when we work together, it goes great. That's how I feel when I go back and I see that the furnishings are all still where I left them, and like everything hasn't been all moved around and rearranged. I'm like, oh, this is great, because I pretend like no one moves anything after I leave the house.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that never happens.
Just totally like live in a delusional land over here. But it's all about Liz. It's not about them. Just kidding. But yeah, that's nice to know then. You're going back, you're doing these assessments every 5 years. So you're helping them stay on top of things, because in some of these instances, when I introed you, we talked about how some of these organizations are the locally run House Corps boards. So there's volunteers that are changing over. So I can imagine you're not necessarily always talking to the same person at a facility, because they rotate off the board or change things out. And so you're kind of acting as some institutional memory for them, which I'd say there's a lot of value there. Right.
Yeah. So we supply them with a report, and within that report, they can pass that report on from person to person, whoever is taking over those positions. So not only are we available to offer advice, but we also have that report that's in front of them they can look at.
Yeah. So if the report gets lost, and like, let's say Tina rolls off the board, she had it in her email and the new people coming on don't have it, can they reach out to you and you all will have it on file for them that they can get it?
Yes. I have my computer's full of reports.
All that you'd want to know, huh?
That's right. Yeah.
So then how do you talked a little bit at the beginning about how you all help them budget for interiors and things like that. So talk a little bit about that piece of it, and just because you're all over the country, you're seeing what things cost at these different chapter houses. So how do you take that information and help inform these chapters so that they can plan for furnishing updates?
Yeah, that's a really challenging piece of what we do is trying to estimate for different parts of the country, because a couch in Tennessee is not going to be the same price as a couch in California, right? So we take in consideration which region we're in, how, what their budget looks like, how much money they have to spend. So yeah, it's definitely challenging, especially when we get into like the boilers and, the mechanical equipment. Yeah. Just trying to figure out what that costs in different regions is challenging.
I'm sure the labor rates are wild from area to area. And so it's so nice, like my institutional memory, to be able to go back and look 16 years, like when I'm quoting projects, okay, similar sized projects in these areas run about this much. I know things are running maybe 15% higher. So you're able to call upon that data to help you, because otherwise you're just flying blind, especially these days, the way that everything is just rapidly rising in cost.
Yes, it's crazy. What stuff costs now compared to 5 years ago it's crazy how much it's increased.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. just the construction costs and just seeing what folks are getting for their renovation or new construction budget now is very different.
Yeah. Another challenging part is trying to figure out, like, if they want furniture, let's just talk about furniture right now, but like furniture that's going to last them 3 to 4 years, or furniture that's going to last 10 years, right? So there's a big difference in that price point.
Yep.
So communicating with the chapter or with the contact, it's important, so we have an idea of like exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, that I really appreciate that point, because I had a similar conversation with a chapter in Ohio recently, and we were going to replace desk chairs for their bedrooms. And they really had no idea what it would cost. So I kind of showed them a variety of price points, all at like a commercial grade or something I knew that just wouldn't fall apart in a year. And they said, wow, we really didn't know it would cost this much. And I said, I totally understand. It's just, if we do anything less than this in price, the quality is going down incredibly, and you're replacing them in a year. And so if that's the route you want to go, and just know that every year you're turning it over, we can do that. But in the end, you're investing a whole lot more than by just hanging on for a second. And paying more and getting the better quality. And then it's lasting longer. But I had to talk to them to say, what are you wanting? Like just a 1 year length of life? Or do you want to go, where you're not touching them for 10 years? And in the end, they decided to go with the better quality and pay a little bit more, but it's saving them in the long run.
Right. Yeah. And logistically too, swapping all that stuff out, it's a logistic nightmare.
Yeah, it is, because it either falls on them, which, they're volunteers, they're doing 100 other things, or they've got to hire their handyman, or they're bringing in an install crew. There's a lot of ways you could do it, and all of it costs money or time.
Right.
I'm curious your perspective on the role that if a chapter does have a house director living in the facility, like what is the role that the house director plays in the day-to-day maintenance, and how can chapters support them in that role?
Yeah, well, it depends on if we are managing the house. The house director's role is a little bit different than if we were managing the house, right? So if we are managing the facility, the house director is the point of contact for our vendors, right? So we will arrange for a vendor to visit the house through the house director, to make sure that she's going to be there to greet them when they come and do the install or repair, whatever it is.
Right. And sort of escort them through the house.
Yes. So if we are not managing the house, then the house directors actually have the responsibility of scheduling all the repairs, all the installs themselves. So the benefit of using CSL is that we will take care of that scheduling for them. Because I could see that things could fall through the cracks if it's all on one person and they're having to maintain this calendar, especially if there's someone who hasn't done it for very long. They may not realize what they don't know. Right.
Yeah. So your team can schedule all of that, make sure it's kept up on a regular routine basis. And then the house director can act as the on-site contact to let them in and relay information then. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. That's super helpful. I mean, I know there's some folks that have been acting as house directors for 20, 30 years and, they've got it down pat and they know that facility inside and out, but that's not really the case anymore. I don't know that there's a ton of career house directors still out there. You're seeing more of them that are in like 2 to 5 year ranges.
Right. Yeah. Very few. And they're those 2 to 5 year ranges, they're changing houses, right? So they're going to different houses.
Yeah. And that's interesting too, because you do hear about that more. I hadn't really thought about that. Like, what do you think makes that increase just now that we're all more connected and you're more aware of what's going on in the world? And so you'll just hop over to this campus, or as where before, maybe you didn't know what was going on outside of your campus.
So it's interesting. There's been a few instances where, I've seen a house director say at Colorado or wherever, right? And then the next year or 2 years later, I see her down the road, in somewhere in New York, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I guess I get it, right? If you're good at your job, you enjoy it. Maybe there's a reason you need to change locations, something, maybe the house closed, or a variety of things gets you closer to family, and you can just go and do that job elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you get tired of the weather, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It kind of reminds me of travel nursing as a job too. You can go take a contract here for a little while, enjoy this area, get to know it, and then you can hop over here and do something else.
Right.
Is there a successful story or like collaboration that you want to share about CSL partnering with either a specific chapter house or like a national organization, and how you guys have really helped improve their property?
Yeah. So I think about there's a chapter at Berkeley that. So when I first started with CSL 10 years ago, that was probably one of my first visits was to this house, and it was a fraternity house, and this fraternity house was a complete disaster, right? So with our help through over the years, they have totally updated the house. Only like a little bit of each year they'll do it a little bit more. And it to where it's completely redone now, and it's a beautiful house. It's neat, like we were saying before about how my assessments have helped these chapters along, right?
Yeah,
it's the same type of thing. It's just over a 10-year period from going to a disaster to just this beautiful house. So
yeah, and it's also a reminder that Rome can't be built in a day. Like you have to just start somewhere. So like yes, something could be really in disrepair like you talked about, but just pick something, start with it, and just work your way through the list and you work your plan, and then look where you could be in 10 years. Right.
And that's another thing I want to touch on is actually having a plan. So if a chapter is going to do renovations to a house, right, have an end goal in mind, right? And if you have to do it 1 or 2 rooms a year, but you're trying to go toward this end goal. So I've been in several places where it just seems like there's no plan. It's like that nothing is like cohesive, right?
Yeah.
So having a plan.
It's almost like reactive. Like, oh, we need we need this new carpet in here, so we'll do that over here, and we'll paint this room. And in the end, you're like 20,000 in, and you're like, we don't have a lot to show for it, because I always advise like focus on, like you said, a room at a time. So let's do everything in this space you want to do, so you can feel proud of it and you can see the fruits of your labor, and then you can move to this other space and get it fully done, rather than just sort of hodgepodging it all.
Yes. And using an interior designer is, to me, it's totally worth the money, because I've been to several houses where they haven't used interior designer, and you walking in, you can tell. It's like that. It's just, you have some things that look in place here, and then some place that like this don't match. So so encourage.
I'm not going to argue with you there, but that was an unpaid endorsement for the industry. So thanks for that.
Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah, right. Don't you worry, I got you. I'm curious, when you were talking about the plan, what came to mind, is there sort of like a general rule of like focus on structural things first and then work your way to the pretties? Or is it all like figured out on a case-by-case basis for each individual house?
It would be case by case, but of course we want to address any type of life safety issues first, right?
Yeah.
Then it would be structural and the infrastructure of the house, right? And then unfortunately the interior design piece would be last.
I know.
Yeah. Sorry, Liz.
It's okay. I wait. I'm still here. I'm waiting. It's all right.
You're not going anywhere, right?
No. I always say I'm the 11th hour. If the project is a new build or being renovated, I literally come in just before the students move back in. And so it's kind of the same way with the other stuff. Get all the things structurally sound, get everything in place, and then we'll come in and put the cherry on top.
Right.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. This was it was eye-opening for me to learn more about what goes on behind the scenes when y'all are doing assessments. And I know that people are going to get a lot of benefit from it. So if people want to connect with you and learn more about what you do, what's the best way for them to do that?
So my email address is jeff@cslmanagement.com. And my direct line, 615-423-5649. I probably shouldn't have given that out, but
that's okay. That's good. They know how to get you. And we'll make sure all that's in the show notes. CSL is on socials as well, so folks can follow along there, and that takes you to the website and all of the things. So, well, I really appreciate you sharing all your knowledge with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Liz. It's good to see you.
Welcome to Liz's House Hot Takes. This is where I take the lessons I've learned over the last 16 years of designing Greek houses and offer you my pro tip. Here's today's house hot take. Use color drenching to calm chaotic spaces. If your house has weird angles, low ceilings, or awkward alcoves, here's a pro move: color drenching. Paint the walls, the trim, and even the ceiling the same shade to unify the space and visually smooth out all of those architectural quirks. It instantly makes a room feel bigger, cozier, and more intentional without any demolition required. Thanks for listening to another House Hot Take. For more inspiration, check out the PDR Interiors Instagram or TikTok. I'm Liz Toombs, and this is the Sorority Chat podcast. Catch you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you got something out of today's conversation, we'd love for you to leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners just like you. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to check out this video right here or this one over here. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out. On that note, I'm Liz Toombs with Sorority Chat, and I'll see you on the next one. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry for Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Liz Toombs.